In my opinion, there's just not enough information out there. The day of a handshake is really gone out the door. So you have to put everything in writing and have clear, open communication. I would love to hear if you've got any more questions, or maybe you can make a comment and ask me some more details on each of these questions so that we can get to the bottom of what you need and what is going to bind your client to you in such a way that you got open communication, you get paid, you leave that job happy, your customers are happy, and everything's in writing. So let's get to the bottom of it. What program do I use to write a contract? Now, this is a little bit of a loaded question here because technically you really should have a lawyer review everything. So first off, if you're going to write your own contract, go into Microsoft Word and structure the contract the way you want it structured. Send it off to your lawyer. Make sure your letterhead is in it. It's really not that complicated. You don't need some fancy software, but you just need to know how to type and check your spelling. But you always want to send it off to a legal professional that's got your back and can support your contract, basically. So to answer the question, very, very simple. Microsoft Word is what I use. So how much does it cost to have a lawyer review your contracts? Now, first off, this isn't the time to go and find a lawyer. You should already have a lawyer for your company. You should have a corporate lawyer that you've already helped set up your company that does all your legal stuff, your annual legal stuff, and then you can actually take this to your lawyer and have them drafted up. We've had a couple contracts drafted up, and they're roughly anywhere between $650 to about $2,500, depending on the how many pages there are and how much they need to go through it. Now, what you really need to do is write up a basic contract that has your terms and conditions. This is very, very standard. It's a standard document that you attach to everything that someone's going to sign, and it's just a standard document. I always say to my customers too, if there's anything you disagree with, please write in red pen and let me take a look at it before you sign, and then we can make sure that everything's clear. Then you can send it off to your lawyer. This is something that needs to be passed on to your client. This isn't something you should be paying yourself. This is to protect you. It's also to protect the client. So make sure this is a job cost. So make sure this is getting billed to the job as well. A lot of people think, okay, well, this is an extra expense. What do I do with this extra expense? Well, this gets passed off to the client. This is a job cost. If you're going to be doing a job, a cost plus job, having a legal having a lawyer review the documents is part of the cost. So that either goes to your admin or your overhead, or your cost plus. We tag it onto our admin. So we have a specific number that we put on each of our jobs that covers the legal aspect of contract writing and documentation, as well as accounts payables and receivables, and even accounting. So everything gets tacked on to admin fee, which is part of the job cost. That's not the extra. That's not your 10% over and above. If your job costs $100,000 and then you paid your account manager and your lawyer an extra $2,500, that gets added to the job cost, and then your cost plus is on top of all that, just so that everyone understands how a job cost works. Okay, so really good question. If you're a sole proprietor and let's say you only have one trade, you're the electrician or you're the framer or you're the roofer, do you need a contract? Absolutely, you need a contract. It may not be as involved if you're just a trade partner, but you definitely need a contract because now this is going to set a clear communication between what your trade does and the person that's paying you, whether it be the owner or the contractor, the general contractor that's going to be paying you. Now, sometimes a general contractor will force you to sign one of their own contracts. You need to be very careful when you're going to sign somebody else's contract because they designed that contract to protect themselves, not to protect you. So make sure that your lawyer reviews it and that you feel comfortable signing that contract. And if you need to red ink it up or make any amendments to it, that is standard practice. Just because someone has put a contract in front of you and says, if you don't sign this, you don't have the job, it does not mean that you don't have the right to refuse or to change that contract. So be proactive, send that contract off to your lawyer for review. And yeah, maybe your lawyer will gives you like a retainer fee for doing that, but it wouldn't hurt to have them look at the contract, making sure that you are protected. The question is when do you write this contract? Do you write it before you meet the owner, or do you write it after you meet the owner? So here's a perfect example. You need to write a proposal. So once you have a proposal in place, this is what you're going to do. This is a rough estimate of what it's going to cost and the responsibilities. This is what this video is about writing this proposal. Once that proposal is done, now you can send them a contract. So the contract is basically a 3-4 page contract supporting the proposal. So the owners or the client will sign the proposal saying, I accept this proposal or this estimate. And then there's a contract, and the contract is the legal aspect of your relationship, how you're going to get paid, when you're going to get paid, what the responsibilities are, what's going to happen if there's a default or there's a problem or a warranty issue. That's what's in this contract. So you can actually have a contract written before, but the contract supports the appendix, which is this like very, very specific proposal to this job. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to move this wall, or I'm going to replace this light. Very, very specific to what your responsibility is for that job. But the contract can be very generic. Why does the owner need to pay for this? I mean, it's very simple. They're hiring you. This is their idea to do this renovation. Why should you have to pay for it? This contract protects them. It also protects you. This is a job cost. They want to do a project, they have to pay. Just like if an owner was going to buy a house, they have to hire a lawyer to do the paperwork. I mean, you don't have to, I guess, but in reality, why wouldn't you? It is a large purchase, and signing something that is a legally binding piece of paper that clearly shows what their responsibilities are and what your responsibilities are, that is clear communication, and it's a small price to pay. If you end up going to court and the owner goes to court and it costs the owner $20,000 and it costs you $20,000, that's a lot more money than having to pay for a $1,500 legal fee at the beginning to write a legitimate contract where both parties can agree upon. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching. And I'm so glad that you are interested in how to write a contract, because it's very, very important as a contractor to figure this out before you lose your shirt. And if you like what you've heard here today, don't forget to hit the bell notification, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video.